Are you being sexually exploited, forced to work against your will? You might have seen these questions on billboards all across Tampa Bay. Human trafficking is a serious problem here. Earlier, we told you about a bus that's going down right now in Hernando County.
Nightside Sarah Rosario found it's not just girls that are being victimized, it's boys too. Now there's a local effort to give those children a voice and a future.
This black and white picture of a little boy sitting in a lawn chair is one Jerome Elam holds on to.
That's the last happy moment in my life. It's a picture of me in my great aunt's garden.
A time just before he says he was sold into sex trafficking right here in Florida at just 5 years old.
And my great aunt was the only one who ever showed me unconditional love in my life.
His body malnourished, drugged, tortured, and abused by people he trusted.
I was targeted through my mom by a sexual predator.
A tumultuous home life where he says his mom, just 17, was also abused, an alcoholic, starving for love and attention.
And when this individual came along, we thought it was the answer to our prayers because he was nice, bought us presents, took me places. But after about 6 months, he began to molest me.
Threatened with his mom's life, Jerome says he was blackmailed into silence.
I was sold to anybody who would come up with the money, and they were allowed to do whatever they want.
At times, Jerome says he was traded around in rooms with other children.
When you would cry, they would beat you so severely, sometimes unconscious, that you just learned to turn it off.
At 12 years old, Jerome says he tried killing himself, chasing a bottle of sleeping pills with vodka. Jerome says his mom found him and took him to the hospital where he was finally able to tell his truth. Soon after, the men visiting Jerome and his mom stopped. Sadly, Jerome's story is the reality for more than 100,000 kids across the United States sold each year into sex trafficking. According to the U.S. Institute Against Human Trafficking, 36% of those kids are boys. Oftentimes, they're runaways or targeted through social media and gaming systems.
And these targeters are very skilled. They know what to look for. They go to the bus stops. They go to the places where the kids hang out.
It's why the national organization headquartered in Tampa created the first safe house in the country for boys.
I mean, the house can handle up to 5 kids at any one given time.
Hidden in an undisclosed area, it's a place to find refuge.
And when the boys first come through the door, they get a big smile on their face because they really haven't seen a home like this before.
These boys are just 10 to 17 years old. Most come out of the foster care system.
And when we built the home, we built it from the ground up, so everything's new. And that was one of our focuses, is that we want everything new here because we want to care for these kids like we would care for our own kids.
Each has their own bedroom and bathroom. Here they're given a sense of family, independence, and belonging. With their shoes lined against the wall, they're taught structure. They can play fun games like foosball and even video games, all of which are monitored for their protection. As a father of young boys himself, CEO Jeff Rogers, who left his executive-level job at IBM to start the nonprofit, says creating this safe house was his calling.
No child should ever go through what these kids have gone through. I think most experts across the country would say that sex trafficking victims, in many ways, are some of the most traumatized individuals on the planet.
One of their most recent arrivals is just 10 years old.
To learn about what's gone on in his past, it's horrifying. He can't read, he can't write. He's never been to school. He has no concept of math, he has no concept of money. And in fact, when he came in, he didn't even know when his own birthday was.
Like any business, human trafficking is one of supply and demand. In an effort to fight it, Rogers teams with schools, churches, governments, and law enforcement. Corporal Alan Wilkett heads the Human Trafficking Division of the Pasco County Sheriff's Office. Wilkett says boys rarely admit or identify as human trafficking victims. He says that's often discovered by law enforcement after the teens are picked up for other crimes.
So it may be a shoplifting, it may be a drug charge, it could be a trespass.
Crimes these young boys are often working for a buyer.
In order to end human trafficking, we have to end demand. And ending demand means we have to go after the buyer. The buyer needs to beware that the buying of sex in Pasco County is not accepted, and we will come after you with everything we have.
One of the ways they work on getting rid of demand is by making it difficult for someone to buy sex. Since a lot of this happens online, what they do is they create a fake ad to appeal to the trafficker. And once the trafficker clicks on the link or calls the number, instead of getting a potential victim, they get police.
Without a safe house to turn to, Jerome spent 25 years in trauma therapy. As an adult, he joined the Marines. Now, married with children, he shares his story with hopes to help others.
I'm here today as a living testament that there's a hope and a light inside us no one can extinguish. And you know, it may be a pilot light, but that can be turned up to a flame that can set your soul on fire like it did mine and have a purpose to make a difference in this world.
The amount of people that he is helping right now.
Wow, amazing.
So through his organization called End Slavery Now, Jerome travels the world raising awareness, doing outreach in communities, and working with local and federal governments to fight human trafficking. The punishment for human trafficking is typically 15 years in prison. If convicted for trafficking minors, it could be life.